Okay, so I just finished. I can hear myself. Am I watching my own stream? Yeah, I am. Okay, so I just finished beating Binding Blade on normal mode. All right, I'm gonna start again. So I just finished beating Binding Blade on normal mode for the first time ever. I would say I did on stream, but I accidentally didn't stream the entire thing. I played for about 4 hours, beating the last two chapters of the normal ending, and yeah, I forgot to stream. Anyway, so the next playthrough will be on hard mode, and I'll get the actual, real, true, good ending, so to speak. Now, I don't want to just use the exact same people that I used this time. I do want a little bit of a spice through my playthrough, so to speak. So I have made 8 wheels here, one for each of all of the legendary weapons that you can find in the game. One for Aureola, one the Light Tome Aureola, one for the Dark Tome Apocalypse, one for the Anima Tome Forblaze, one for uh, the Staff of the Saint, one for the bow, Maltet, no, Merglay, one for the lance, Maltet, one for the axe, Armads, and one for the sword, Durandal. Now, uh, basically, what's going to happen is in the final chapter, you have 10 deployment spots. You have to bring Roy and you have to bring Faye, but it leaves you with 8 open spots to deploy whoever you want through the entire playthrough. All of these 8 people. So the goal will be to beat the game while using these 8 people for their corresponding weapons. Now, the thing is, I've sorted them out by who can wield what weapon, but in Binding Blade, some people can wield more than one weapon. If your class can wield more than two weapons, then you can potentially wield two or more legendary weapons. So there are some overlaps. So I've got my lovely assistant, my girlfriend, to help me out here. She's gonna spin the wheel and then check to make sure that no one is the same in the in the interest of fairness. And if there is someone the same, she's gonna respin the wheel. Okay, are you ready? Okay, I'm not looking. 同じ名前が来てる? Okay, respin, please. Yeah. 全部違う? Okay, let's take a look. Ba-dum. All right. So we have for the light tome, we have Saul. Okay, this is good, I think. Saul is widely considered the best light user. Nime for the dark tome, that is also good. I think she's a really popular unit to use, but it's not because she has good stats. It's because she's good at using staves. So that might actually be an interesting problem. Um, Lou for Anima. I used him last one. He's probably the best pick for Anima, so that's good. Clarine for staff. Clarine is staff on a horse, which is always good. So that's a pretty good pick. Dorothy for Merglay. She's an archer. I really wanted one of the nomads. Sue or ideally Sheen would have been great, but we'll deal with Dorothy. Juno. Um, Juno for what is that? Lance? She's a pretty far endgame person, so I don't know about that. Douglas for Axe for Armads. Juno for Maltet and Douglas for Armads. Douglas again kind of sucks. Like he's a late game unit that I won't have any chance to train up. And then Zealot, we get the married couple for Durandal. He as well is fine. I'll have to check. So I have prepared actually kind of an interesting stats of if I am going to use these people and favorite them and play favorites here. Hmm. To see, this is a list of all of the Binding Blade characters and their stats if you are to level them up all the way that you physically possibly can. So here's them sorted by total. Now, this obviously isn't like awesome because certain stats are more valuable than others. Luck, notably, is a pretty crappy stat. But so Saul, where's Saul? Oh my God. Saul is pretty low. Okay, he's low on the list, but that's fine. He's gonna be my light user. Nime, Nime, that's what I'm talking about. Nime is a very popular unit to use. She comes with an A rank in staff, which is very difficult to get. Um, because in the game it takes a whole lot of staff uses to in order to actually get yourself up to A rank in staff. So she's really popular because she also has a high magic. So a lot of the fancier staves that adversely affect your enemy or warp or whatever. Um, yeah, she can use them. However, literally every single person below them is someone that cannot class up. So her stats are like the worst in the game. Okay, so yeah, Nime, like she's a really good unit, and it's good that she's going to be deployed on the field a lot, but I do worry. I do worry. Lou, I have nothing to worry about, I think. He's pretty low on the list in terms of like max stats, but like he's I'm not gonna have to go out of my way to use him. Like last game, I used him and just naturally leveled him up to level 20 through normal gameplay. So that was good. Clarine, I used her as well. She's down there as well. But again, she's like a really easy to use unit. Dorothy. Dorothy's probably going to be my hardest person to get. You get her alongside Saul. Eh. Juno, see, this is what I'm kind of afraid of. Juno and Douglas pre-promotes. What a pre-promote is it's an enemy that or an ally that has already been promoted into a higher class. So usually they have good stats at the start and they're handy to use early on, but they're kind of an experience hog and they'll fall off later on. He's way the heck down there. Douglas, Yeah, he's down there too. Zealot, he's down there. Holy crap. So the probably the most like let's look up. Hello. Stream for like 3.5 hours doing the entire last two chapters of Binding Blade, and it turns out I just didn't hit the dang go live button ever, and I just didn't check the entire time, and no one told me. It's on me, but it is kind of unfortunate that I did announce on Blue Sky and um my Discord, and like no one sees it and goes, "Hey, actually, you're not live." But anyway, Binding Blade tier list. Yeah, it's like whatever. I mean, the silver lining to it is like if no one cared enough to tell me, no one's gonna care enough to miss it that it's gone, which is like a very depressing thing to think about. But I mean, I don't know, whatever. Which it does. This the stinking thing was, I was thinking about if I wanted to make a YouTube video about an eventual YouTube video, I was gonna be like, oh, I just won. Um, yeah. Yeah, that's true. At least it wasn't part of my actual challenge run. It's a depressingly it's a pessimistic optimistic thing. So here's the tier list. So how the tier list works is basically if you want to beat the game on hard mode, um what units are ranked by how easy they'll make your life. So, for example, Saul, he's high tier. He's good. So that's going to be a good pick. We're going to use him. Mime, also, she's high tier. Nice. Lou, where's Lou? It's translation. It's never been officially translated, really. So there he is. Mid tier. I don't know. I used him to great success last time. Clarine, she's high up there as well. Dorothy, oh yeah. Absolute low tier. Oops. Juno. Yeah, there's Juno. Douglas, there's Douglas. Zealot. Zealot's up there. He's high tier. What about Alan? Alan didn't get picked. He's high tier though. He's high tier. He's up there. He did not get picked though, unfortunately. So this is for a normal run of like who you should use. Yeah, I know. Who you should use if you want your life to be easier, basically. But for my purposes, the tier list is probably significantly different. Let's take Marcus. I'm sorry. But he is the pre-promoted paladin that you get from chapter 1. You get to use him the entire game, and he's your best unit in chapter 1. But the thing is, he's already promoted. He's already evolved. So, he's kind of an experience hog. So if you send him out to kill everybody, he will hit max level 20, if you use him a lot sometime along the game, throughout the entire game. He'll hit max level 20, and he'll stop leveling up. And his stats will stop going up. But the enemies will keep getting harder, and he'll get outpaced. So even though he's like on hard mode, you absolutely 100% want to use him because the enemies are just so strong at the start compared to your units before you get some good levels up, some good levels up, whatever, that you kind of need him. Like the first chapter, the enemies will just kill your other units, so you have to use him to tank some hits so that the other guys can pick him off. So that's why he's so good in normal runs, because you just drop him later on. You just bench him later on. It's fine. He's like indispensable in the early game, but you'll bench him later, and that's basically it. The other issue though, Or yeah, but for my purposes, he would be a horrible pick because he falls off in the end game. So I would need to do something to try to fix him up. The thing that troubles me is I have 4 pre-promotes here. 4 of them. And my biggest fear was this is the end game team. No switching. So I can use whoever I want through the entire game, but the end game has to have these guys. So the end game chapter 24 or whatever the frick, lets you bring in 10 people. Roy is forced as the main character. Faye is forced as as the divine dragon. And then the rest of the eight you can pick whoever you want. Coincidentally, there are also 8 S-ranked divine weapons in the game. So I sorted out everybody in the entire game based off of what weapon they can wield, and then picked them accordingly. There are chances for overlaps, but my beloved assistant was kind enough to check to see that there was no overlaps and spin again if there was. You have to click the pieces? No, that's not this game. This game you just collect the weapons. Yep. Onigishi. She's in the next room with headphones on. Whatever. But yeah, no, this one there's 8 of them. 6 of them you have to collect. Yeah. 6 of them you have to do things. 2 of them just show up with an endgame guy. He shows up with the staff, and he also shows up with either the bow or the lance, depending on which path you took. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's it. But the other 6, you have to do some other requirements to get them. Usually it's beat the chapter within a certain set number of turns. Beat the chapter within X turns, or and then a few of them for story reasons you have to keep certain people alive. You know, like the first chapter that it happens with, hey, Laura says thank you. 回してくれてありがとう. Check してくれてありがとう. Yep. Do you wanna There we go. Like the first one where you get Durandal, which is the one that she says hi back, which is the one that I made the physical version of. I don't remember if there's a time limit on that one, but you need to save Lilina in that chapter because she's the one that will guide you there. There's one in the desert where if you don't act fast enough, the enemy says screw it, and then like collapses the entrance to the shrine, so you can't get the weapon. Yeah. Some of them have both. There's one where, like, if you take too long, the people will hide the weapon, but and you also need certain people to be alive to lead you to where they hit it. And that will not, if a character dies, it's not a challenge ender, but it is a reset. I'm not doing an Iron Man run. That's crazy. If a character dies, it's a reset. You have to redo the chapter. That's the rules. Well, let's pull up the rules. Oh my God, I hate. Don't do that. Okay. So, yeah, get the best end of the game. That involves collecting all of the requirements for that are collect all 8 divine weapons, have Faye be alive when you defeat Zephiel, or when you defeat Zephiel, and then defeat the final boss using the Binding Blade on Roy. Um, in the final chapter, bring only the randomly chosen units. These are them. Recruit all possible characters and keep them alive until the end. So, last time I almost did that. There was one guy who showed up randomly that you can recruit, who showed up randomly like 75% into the chapter, and I didn't want to reset the entire chapter so I could pick the person that I needed to recruit them, so I just killed him. Sorry, bro. Um, yeah, so that sucks. But yeah, so if anyone dies, it's a reset. Visit all villages, pillage all chests, keep all green units alive. That's an extra. Yeah, sorry, had to do it. So there are villages that can be destroyed by enemy thieves. I gotta visit them all. There are chests that can be stolen by enemy thieves. God dang it. Or enemy thieves or brigands and whatnot. I gotta get them. And keep all green units alive. There are sometimes where you have ally units that are caught up. I think they're all ally units in this game. Ally soldiers. So you keep them alive because you get rewards. That's just an extra challenge I want to do. Don't abuse infinite experience stuff. I could go into the arena and level 20 every single one of my characters in chapter 6 or whatever the first arena is. Um, that's not. I'm not going to do that. You can also bully bosses by breaking their weapons and then attacking them, letting them heal, attacking them, and letting them heal. No. Refrain from using the end rewind feature or save states. So I can't rewind time. I can't make save states and go back to them. I'm gonna play this straight. And then the other thing I want to do is there's 2 opportunities in the game to split routes. I want to go on the ones that I didn't do last time. Luckily, I didn't get any of the characters that are required on the route that I already did. I did get Juno, which is required, which is she's exclusive to the route that I want to go on this time. But yeah, so there's a couple splits there, and there's 3 characters that you can get, 2 of which can't fight. So whatever. But yeah, overall, my biggest worry is actually Nime, even though she's high tier right here, bada bing, bada boom. The problem is this is every character sorted by their expected stats if you level them up all the way. Level them up to 20, promote them, and level them up to 20 again. This is what you would expect on average they get. It's random, but you'd expect this. So I've sorted them by total descending. But if we go down here for Roy, Zeiss, Melody, Percival. Now this is kind of rough as well. I mean, there's certain HP obviously is 60, max of 60. The bold ones are the maximum they can get. HP is 60, right? So if someone can max out HP, it does a lot more for their total. So you'll see a lot of people that max out their HP up at the top. But if we start going down and let's see who is the first person we find that we've picked. Yeah. Lot, Hugh, Dorothy. Dorothy is going to be our best character, I think. And if we level them up to all 20, Dorothy is going to have our best stats. And she is an archer, which is in the GBA games, which is like one of the worst classes ever. She's going to be locked to. She can't attack people that are 1 space away. All right, then next, Noah, Lou. That's Lou. Lou is up there as well. I don't know. I used Lou, used him great. I had no problems with him. Ellen, Clarine. So we have boom, boom, boom. Dorothy, Lou, Clarine. Dorothy is absolute dog water. Lou and Clarine are good. I used them last time to great effect. Wolt, Barth, Klein, Ray, Sophia, Klein, Bartray, Hugh, Saul. There's Saul, my light user. Okay. Okay. Lilina, Garrett, Igreen, Hugh, Douglas. There's Douglas. Echidna, Hugh, Dayan, Cecilia, Zealot. There's Zealot. Juno. There's his wife, Juno. Kind of cool that we did get the married couple. Um, and there's Nime. So like, I'm really worried that I've got a lot of pre-promotes that are just can't perform. So that's what I'm worrying about. Juno and Zealot, they have good support together, I think. So they're that's great. Who am I worried about the most? I'm worried about Douglas and Dorothy the most. You know, Dorothy I'm not actually worried about super a lot because some of the units are like the reason why they're so low on tier lists is because you have to baby them for them to get any sort of, stats. They join at a way too low level or whatever. Um, but once you level them up, they'll be fine. I'm not looking. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. I am very hungry though. So I'm going to yeah, get something to eat and think about my team. But I'll be back tomorrow doing the Lego and making the little minifigures. So I'll see you there. Might be great, might be stressful. We'll see. It's hard mode. I don't know. But yeah. All right. Bye bye.